Good morning, everyone. You can see we are bursting at the seams here, which is always a good thing. I believe this may be the largest gathering we've had in my 30 years of running this event. And as a former coach, the one thing that I never wanted to tolerate was excuses. So I'm going to make excuses to my new boss. But if there's one thing I get stressed out on every single year, it's this event. Because when this building was designed back in 2000, it really wasn't designed for a group this large. But what I never wanted to do, unless my boss would tell me otherwise, is they say, well, can we move it down to the arena floor? Can we move it here or there? But as much as this drives me crazy over the course of the year, this is a very brainstorming, intensive, figuring out process. The ceremony itself makes it very worthwhile. So any headaches I have, when you hear these inductees get up here and give their speeches, all the problems go away. But this is an inexact science, and we have people that walk up. They may have heard about it late. I'm going to come up, support an inductee, and then we have seats for 100, and it turns into 115. So if there's anybody out there without a seat, I greatly, greatly apologize. If someone doesn't have a seat, as we're starting to eat, I'll set up a couple tables outside. Once we clear the plates, we can move chairs in and everybody will have a chair. But that's my excuse, so Dr. Borchers can make me run laps when this thing is over with. But again, thank you. This is one of my favorite days of the year. It is a chance to bring back people that are so deserving, that made their mark on the campus, not only on the playing fields, the courts, the mats, the diamonds, whatever the surface may have been, but they've gone on and represented West Liberty University in such an incredible way as leaders of their families, as pillars of their community. All the things that go along with what made them successful here translates to success down the road. So this is an incredibly deserving group. I love the turnout, and this is going to be an emotional, great, great day. So before I talk any longer, I'm going to have the pleasure of introducing our esteemed leader, our new president. He has done wonders in the short time he's been here. So now, Dr. Tim Borchers, come up and...
Thank you, Lynn. Lynn has been one of my greatest supporters ever since the first day I met him on the interview, and I just can't thank him enough for his for the support that he's given me, for the mentoring that he's given me, and for all the service that he's done to our athletic program here as a coach, as the athletic director. So let's really give Lynn a big round of applause for the work that he's done. I also offer my thanks to the Hall of Fame Selection Committee. I got to meet them actually when I was here this summer visiting in June, so it was kind of fun to be able to come full circle now with that meeting. But thanks to all of them. Thanks to all of you, your families, friends, teammates, children, husbands, wives, everyone who's here today, thank you. The Hall of Fame is the highest honor that we award to our student athletes here at West Liberty University. Today we celebrate your achievements and express our pride in what you've accomplished. In reading your biographies, it's clear that not only did you achieve excellence here at West Liberty, but you've gone on to outstanding careers serving your communities and professions. The Hall of Fame also provides a display of the accomplishments of our alumni to our current students. It's an inspiration to them, and it's a reminder that they too can achieve greatness. As they see the Hall of Fame, they're reminded of those who came before them, and they're encouraged to work hard and persevere so one day they may be members of the Hall of Fame. As we begin developing ideas for the future of West Liberty University, your successes will help us visualize ways that we can help student athletes achieve more than they thought they could. Your successes will help them and us dream bigger. Your success will inspire a new generation of Hilltoppers. So on behalf of West Liberty University, congratulations. Enjoy the ceremony and the rest of the events today. Thanks for being here.
And let me add to Dr. Borchers' remarks. We do a lot of great things here on the Hilltop, and I've been here for over 3 decades, but no different than when we are coaching our teams. You always have to tweak things. You can't just do the same thing over and over, year after year. You're not going to have that success. So for all of the good things that we may or may not have done over the last X amount of years, Dr. Borchers is coming in. He has a vision. One of the things that's impressed me the most is how many meetings have you had, individual meetings?
170 or something.
He's already had 170 individual meetings on campus. And it is everybody. It's not just, I'm going to meet with upper administration or I'm going to meet with the dean or whatever it may be. He is literally meeting with anybody on campus that wanted that audience. And I couldn't think of a better way for an incoming new leader to figure out who we are, what we need, and how he can help us. So I encourage everybody here, don't make this a one-time-a-year thing. Please come back and see us again. And it's not just athletics. I've been involved in athletics. We have a lot of wonderful things, whether it's the arts or educational components. There's so many wonderful things here. Please come back and visit us. And don't be afraid to reach out and say hello, because I can tell you right now, this man, he will give you the time of day. He's going to listen to you. And we are going to make this place a better place, and we're going to move forward. Just a couple quick other introductions. We got Sean Ollum from the West Liberty Foundation in the back. He's actually my brother. I'm the cute one. We have Amanda Bennett in the back. She represents the WLU Alumni Association. She's the director of the alumni. So again, as we sit to eat, what makes this room so difficult? These tables are designed for 6 people. So if a group has 10, conceivably we just lost 2 seats. So if you look around, if someone doesn't have a seat, there may be a couple empty at someone's table. Please welcome them, at least through the breakfast part of this, and then we'll get into the ceremony. But again, thank you, and our food service will come out and start excusing the tables for our outstanding buffet. So Amanda, could you open that door and maybe tell them that we're ready? And enjoy the food. Now we get the fun part. This is the part that means so much to me every single year, to hear these so well-deserving former athletes come up and we get to hear from them. Just a couple housekeeping notes here. Please turn your cell phones off, please. The football game, we will represent the plaques to the inductees at halftime of the football game. Everyone in here, you get in for free. So when you go down to the game, when you walk through the ticket gate, just say Hall of Fame, and they'll go ahead and let you in. But please join us at the football game today. One other brief announcement. I set a goal that I was going to try to acquire a helmet from every different helmet worn in football here. And we've done a pretty good job, but anybody out there that has helmets, and Lance, you told me you were going to confiscate a couple of your former teammates, but we're missing probably 5 helmets designs over the years, and it wasn't as hard as you think, because back in those days, they would wear the same logoed helmet maybe for 10 years. So I think, Jerry Fado, are you the one that came up with the helmet from the 60s? So that was a great get for us. But if you know anybody out there that has a helmet they would like to donate, we'd like to make a permanent display somewhere. And as Lance told me, the statute of limitations is worn off. So if you took it illegally, we're not going to hold that against you when you bring it back. One of the things that we do annually here is recognize all former Hall of Fame members in attendance. So if you are a previous inductee, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. It looks like at least 15 former Hall of Fame members here, so thank you for your attendance. And now, I would like to announce the official 2023 West Liberty University Athletic Hall of Fame class. The roll call will begin. Please hold your attendance until everybody has been recognized. The 1964 NAIA National Championship Baseball Team, Ed Dugas, Guy Fuscardo, Shane Maynard, Corey McDuffie, Matt Morrison, Christy Peabody, Jeff Stone, Guy Fuscardo, and Frank Zebrasky. The 1964 baseball team, NAIA National Champions. The 1964 baseball team became the first West Liberty team to win a national championship when Coach George Kovalick's Hilltoppers won the NAIA World Series. After losing the opening game, West Liberty rolled through the consolation bracket before sweeping Grambling State in the championship final. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1964 National Championship baseball team. Floyd Schuler will accept on their behalf.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of the team, let me make a few remarks. Before I do, I'd like to introduce a couple of our former players, or one of the Mears brothers, Gary Zielinski, who was an outstanding team member, James Long, whose father was one of my best friends, Gordon Long, Mary Lou Ujich, and I think everybody knows the story of Frank Ujich. He was one of the greatest baseball players ever to come out of the Ohio Valley. Mary Lou. I'll keep my remarks somewhat brief, but let me say that we had a great group of individuals that ended up at West Liberty for multiple reasons. We bonded together with an ultimate goal of winning not only the conference championship, but the regional championship and the national championship. The year before we won, we were defeated in Indiana, and we made it our goal in 1964 to move forward and win a national championship. And we did that. And we came through the losers bracket to do that. And in winning and beating Grambling in a doubleheader, we played under the lights. We never played under the lights before. So here we had a team from West Liberty that, one, didn't have a home baseball field. We played most of our games on the road or in Warwood. That field still exists. And it didn't make any difference who we played. The other thing is that we had a marvelous coach. George Kovalick was a great coach, one of the most organized coaches that I've ever been around. He wanted to win as much as we wanted to win, and sometimes even more. It didn't make any difference to him who you were. If you didn't do what was asked of you, whether your name was Negro, whether it was Dorr, whether it was Schuler, whether it was Zelensky, he got after you, and most times he was right. So we had a bond. We worked together, and under the leadership of Coach Gavalik, we won the national championship, and it's something that I'll always remember. Unfortunately, many of our team members are deceased and can't enjoy this. However, it's wonderful that the institution has enshrined us, and they're up there paying attention to what's going on today. And again, I appreciate, congratulations to all of the new inductees. It's something that you'll always remember for the rest of your lives. Thank you very much.
Our next two inductees, and we talked about this last year if you were at this event, now everybody gets to shine because every game is streamed and we have multiple people taking every stat conceivable. And it is so much easier, even if you play at the Division II level in the Northern Panhandle of West Virginia, that if you excel in athletics, you're going to find a way to be recognized. And we have had just a number of All-Americans and people come through the ranks just in the last 10 years. Unfortunately, if you're a lineman or maybe a defensive player from the 60s, 70s, whatever, it wasn't easy to be recognized. And it makes it really difficult for a Hall of Fame committee because we don't even have research that if you're the best left tackle in the conference, there's no stats for that. So our next two inductees kind of fell into that little bit trap, but fortunately we're here to honor them today. So our next inductee, Ed Dugas, an all-WVIC selection on West Liberty's 1963 WVIC championship football team. Ed was a WVIC champion and NAIA national qualifier in wrestling for the Black and Gold. A highly successful wrestling coach at John Marshall High School, Dugas is a member of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame and the John Marshall Athletic Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present Ed Dugas. Congratulations. Thank you. Steal my paper.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me back here, Vince? Rich? I hate to sit in the back and not be able to hear. I have bad ears to start with now. And I go to church, I got to keep, like those old timers do, keep pulling my ear out. Anyway, it's a real honor to be here. The first thing I want to do to get loosened up is introduce my friends over here. My wife, 50-some years, I think 55. She's really, she's a good person, a lot better than me. She's solid, and she's a great mother. She's a great grandmother, and she was an excellent nurse. And now she's working on her own, giving me advice all the time. No, she's really great. My daughter, Tricia, and her son, Clayton. Clayton's an 8th grader, and he plays football, wrestling, and track, and he likes it. I used to really get on him a lot at wrestling practice a lot, and afterwards I'd say, "Are you mad at me?" And he'd say, "No." I says, "Well, good, because I'm not mad at you." And we buried the hatchet, whatever I said to him. So anyway, he likes to play, so whether he continues that's up to him. My friend, Bill Heingardner, an outstanding wrestling coach that worked with John Marshall. He started the tradition there, and his wife, Shirley. And Bill, he's from Concord, but he's one of the good ones. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law, Mike and Pat Urbanik. Pat's good. She's Mary Jean's sister, my wife. And Mike, he likes to fish. I like to fish. He likes to drink beer. I like to drink beer. And we have, anytime we go on vacation or something, we always enjoy each other. Jerry and Zetta Gordon, they are my wife's uncle, or aunt and uncle, okay, by marriage. And really, Jerry and Zetta are the in-laws of Joe Dorr Jr., the one that's on the golf team at West Liberty. And he's also, which is young Joe, his dad was a member of the Hall of Fame baseball team in '64. Great baseball player. And a good friend of mine, and a roommate in college, and a teammate, and the catcher on the '64 National Baseball Championship team, the one and only Mr. Crappie, Gary Zielinski, okay? We slept together for 1 year. We roomed every year, but 1 year the place where we stayed uptown had a double bed, that's all, so we slept together. And we really never thought anything about it. Till he put Vicks vapor, he'd stick, I'd lay down and go to sleep right away. And he'd be polishing his shoes, and then when he got in, he would put that Vicks vapor rub on his fingers and stick it under my nose. But it was good. I want to congratulate the whole baseball team. I think it's outstanding, and I think it's unique that a small college like this wins a national championship. And I know I'm really proud of them, and I think everybody played in those eras that remembers them are extremely proud of them. And also I want to congratulate all the other 7 inductees that are here. I got 2 Fuscardos here, so we got to watch. And my wife told me I got to stay on task with my notes so I don't get messed up. If I start rambling, that's what 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
I'm really honored to receive this induction into the West Liberty Athletic Hall of Fame, and I thank those who thought that I was worthy of this honor and voted for me. And I also want to thank God for helping look after me for 5 years I was here, because it was really tough. He took care of me. My story begins, I come out of a small high school. I always told everybody that I graduated about 30th in my class, and there was only 32. But I got an invitation in the summer of '63 to play in this West Virginia Centennial All-Star football game. It was the 100-year anniversary of the state, and they had this All-Star game up here, and they did not have the West Virginia High All-Star game that year. So anyway, I played, and I was really surprised, and I was excited about the invitation, but the reason being I didn't play the last 8 games of the season. But yet, Tommy O'Connell, who was our coach, he nominated me for the game. I was really excited because I really missed it. And so anyway, I was looking forward to it, and when the game was over, I played well. I must have, because this assistant coach from West Liberty, J.D. Miller, he was an attorney and assistant coach. He did everything in the Valley. And he was one of George Kovalich's assistants, and he came and saw me, and he says, he'd like for me to come up here and come out for football. I said, I really had plans. I was going to go take an interview at a plant down the river for a job. I was going to make money. That's what I was wanting to do, get a job. I had no idea, I had no intentions whatsoever of going to college. So anyway, he told me, and I'd never forget this, he says, well, I'm going to tell you what. He says, I want you to come out and try it. He says, we're going to have a big picnic for 2 weeks. He says, and I told him, I says, well, JD, I have no intentions of going to college. I don't even know if I can get in, but I went to a good school that I had all the credentials that made me eligible to get in. So he says, just come out and try it. It's going to be a picnic, and he says, if you don't like it, I'll get you a job at Blawnox making $2 an hour. It's a job. $2 an hour, it was pretty good. I was getting $5 a week before that, working at a gas station on the summer. So I took it. And the rest is history as far as I'm concerned. But I know one thing, that picnic for 2 weeks made every muscle in my body ache 24/7 for 3 weeks. But I did like it. He was right. I liked it. And I kind of proud myself in listening sometimes to older people, what they tell you. And if I didn't listen to him, I wouldn't be where I am standing today. If it wasn't for Tommy O'Connell nominating me for that game, I wouldn't be here. I liked to play football. I liked everything. I was an active person. I liked to fish. I didn't hunt, but that wasn't any good. But I liked to fish, and I liked to run. We played softball, we played baseball, we played cut the field, and played throw up and run around, played big teams. We made our own goalpost. But anyway, after the picnic, school started on Monday. The season began. The football team, the coaches, and a lot of the faculty members were very helpful to us younger guys starting out. Didn't know anything about what I was supposed to do in college. They told us who to take for the good teachers to take for certain classes. Guys like Floyd was there. You knew who the good English teacher was, the history teacher. Barbeau just passed away. He was a good man. Anyway, they were real helpful. There was a lot to digest. The football games, the bus rides, the fights, the overnight stays will be our memories forever. So after football, I went out for wrestling. Wow, what an experience. I never wrestled before college. I had Coach Kovalik in phys ed class, and he taught wrestling. Well, if I was stronger than somebody, I'd just hold them down, you know what I mean? A lot of them weren't athletes that was in there, So anyway, somebody talked us into me and Lou Leone from Mingo Junction to go out for wrestling, and so we did. And the older wrestlers helped the younger guys. We had Coach Kovalik for 2 years, and then he left, and then we had somebody else. But the other older guys, there were a lot of experienced boys. We had guys from Jersey, from Pennsylvania, Ohio, and anyway, they were pretty good. And anyway, we worked and drilled, and I learned to survive. Stay off your back, and you always have a chance to win. But if you get on your back, you're going to be in big trouble. You ain't going to win. So stay off your back, you got a chance. And I learned how to get better. And it goes something like this. Drill, drill, drill. Boring, boring, boring. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Boring, boring, boring. win, win, win. It applies to everything. You got to do it over and over and over, and you got to drill it slow, faster, faster. And if you don't give up, you persevere, you end up winning something. Yourself, you have confidence. So, how much time, Coach? Good. One page. Last page. After wrestling, I went out for the track team because I knew a couple guys that threw the shot and the discus. And so I said, I'll try that. It looks like fun. So I threw the shot and the discus. And did that for 4 years. So I really liked all that stuff. And then after the track season, I graduated, and then I began teaching and coaching for 33 years in Marshall County. I also spent 11 years up here as assistant football coach under Coach John Westenhaver and Coach Larry Shank. And I really liked that. These guys, they're just like high school guys. They're just bigger, faster, and stronger. But they still want to take the easy way on a lot of things. You've got to teach them over and show them over and over and over. So I really enjoyed those 11 years. Lance LaFollette, he was skinny, real. I never saw him drop a ball up here all the time. I mean, he was amazing. So anyway, I put down here the experiences at West Liberty in the classroom, in the sports program, made my teaching and coaching job very enjoyable. I loved my work. I missed one day of sick leave because I went fishing over the weekend and I couldn't get up. I twisted something. Anyway, I was laid up on Monday. I couldn't go to school. But other than that, I didn't miss any work. I'm proud of myself on that. I played both ways for 2 years. Played offense and defense. Those people would roar and cheer like the pros and beat their chest and that's what they're supposed to do out there, make a good play, make something happen. But if you're playing hard and you're going two ways, you don't have time to cheer. You want to catch your breath. You want to breathe because you got assignments to remember. You got to know what to do next. Where the ball is, down a distance. Thank you very much. I enjoy this. It's a great honor. How much time do I do?
I don't know, you're fine. Thanks, Ed. He mentioned fishing several times. We have one of the top men's basketball coaches in America here, Ben Hallett, and he reminds me at least once a week that he would give it up in a second if we just have a fishing team, and he could be the fishing coach. So I've always got to battle that with him. All right, our next inductee, Guy Fuscardo, a 4-year starter and 2-year All-WVIC lineman under legendary head football coach Bob Rowe. Guy used his West Liberty degree as the foundation for an outstanding business career. After traveling the country as a storm and catastrophic damage expert in the insurance industry, Fuscardo started his own restoration company. 2 decades later, he continues to serve as president and CEO of Black Diamond Restoration. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present Guy Fuscardo.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I have to say, I really appreciate Doogie yielding his last 30 seconds to me. First of all, though, I want to thank the West Liberty University Hall of Fame Committee for my inclusion in this year's class, without question. And Lynn and Alex and Robin and all the communication that they've done throughout this whole thing, I think has been great. So I really appreciate that. I'm really humbled by this honor. I'm not one of those kind of guys, but what Doogie said, I repeat, so thank you. I also want to thank my family, and I have to pick this up because, you see it. I want to thank my family. My brother Nick, as a matter of fact, over here on my right, came all the way from California for this, and I have to speak about Nick for a moment. Listen, Nick is a West Liberty graduate, but I had the honor this past spring, I think it was, to go to California where he was inducted into the Fullerton College Hall of Fame out there. He was a baseball coach and for years. You just look at him, you can tell that. But anyway, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame out there, and I'm proud of that. My daughter Alicia, who gathered a lot of my family to be here today, obviously. That may assure a sellout at today's game, Lynn, by the way. My sister Sandy Lee, my daughter Jennifer is here with me. Angelo and all of the Sicolella half of my family, which I've got to say this and apologizing to them. There are so many of them that I can't introduce them by name or I'd have more than my 10-minute allotment. We circled the wagons here today. They're all over here to my right. As I mentioned, as far as Alicia too, I think we're all lucky because Alicia couldn't charter a bus today or this building would be full. Going out there. Let's see, I truly appreciate my family and friends coming to share this with me, obviously. They've supported me throughout my athletic life and my businesses as only a true family could do. And I love you guys. I really do. I played ball here at West Liberty with an exceptional group of athletes, no question, many of which are already included in this Hall of Fame, and most of them are here today, which I'm really proud about the fact of, getting inducted with Dugas. And I got Z here with me too, and I think it's awesome because they made me look good. He was the right guard. He was the right guard. I was the left guard. Z was the tackle. So for 3 linemen to come here at one sitting is amazing. Just like Lynn said early on, I think it's great. I think too, being inducted today with Ed Dugas is also a special experience. Again, I mentioned about us being on the same offensive line. I want to tell you a quick story. At West Liberty, my role as an offensive guard was to be a pulling guard, okay? Our offense was set up that the guard would go and pull. So I had a gentleman in our backfield who is also in the Hall of Fame and sitting in the back there, or standing, I don't know for sure, but I think it's Tom Fado. The funny part of that story is what I would do is I would pull down the line to go through the hole to do what I was supposed to do, and he was so fast that he would either beat me to that hole or he would be there to gently push me to a linebacker or a defensive back so he could make this long gain. So, Fates made me look good, brother. Tom Fado was the back that was there. I really appreciate everything he did for me. I also want to thank Tom because I still carry the mark on my back of his handprint for that gentle push that I always had. I mentioned Ed Dugas and Gary a couple times, and I got to tell a story about that too. On our bus trips, I occasionally had a kind of a tendency to drift and to look out the window. I was so concentrated on our game plan. I'm sure it wasn't some woman I was supposed to meet at the Bloody Bucket or something, but these two, all of a sudden, one time I looked over, and they slept together, but they also sat in the bus all the time together. That worried me. After I heard that story, I wondered, wow, that explains it. So I look over at these two, and they're making fun of me. They're mocking me the way I was eating chips or whatever. I was eating very much slow motion, and they were waving to me. So to this day, and I have to tell you this is 50-some years later, every time I see Z, that's what hey, neighbor, we do this. I love it. I love it. And actually, this away trip that we're talking about, or one of them, was when we had the privilege of, for 2 years, going to Edward Waters College down in Florida to play ball. It was great. And when we got there, on our first trip down there, the Edward Waters coaching staff, or whoever it might have been, made sure about 4 of the biggest linemen that they have greeted us at the airport, okay? So we get off the plane and we're walking and they're trying to help us, and one of them looked at me and said, "Excuse me, are your linemen coming down on a different plane? I said, no, sir, this is us. So, much to their surprise, that first year we played them, I think it was 1966, we beat them 30-20, okay? We had a repeat to go back down the very next year because they wanted to get even, and unfortunately for us, but they beat us like 12-7 in a real close game or something like that. But the irony of all of that is, following that year, they did away with their football program down there, and it didn't reinstitute the whole thing until 2011, I guess. Now they're Edward Waters University, and they're playing football again. I think we humiliated them to the point where they said, we got to regroup, boy. These West Liberty kids kicked our ass, So it was a good experience down there, too. I have to say, too, that West Liberty has been fortunate. Beside Coaches Rowe, who's been mentioned, and Leo Miller, we've had a great group of coaches up here at West Liberty. And it's amazing, how lucky we are to have the group of coaches that we have today. And a couple of the coaches that come to my mind that I have to mention here are George Kovalik. We talked about him a minute ago. I have it listed here. Let me find it and I'll read them. Okay, I got them. Joe Bartell, George Kovalik, Al Blatnick, Alan Fires, which is a story in his own right, Tom Grawl, Dave Waples, Tom Meikle, Bo McCartney, and we can go on and on. Finally, I got to share one more interesting story for you because I'm not going to take as long as Doogie did. Okay? I had the privilege of playing in the Ohio, he mentioned it, the Ohio-West Virginia All-Star Game. I had the privilege of playing in that game. Well, we entered a camp out in Ohio somewhere for a one-week practice before the actual game on that Saturday. And while we were there, Coach Rowe and then athletic director Al Blatnick made a visit out there to talk to some of us. We're at camp, and they talked to people from both sides, okay? And one of the things that I thought was really cool after I came up here, I realize now that they were up there talking to players on Ohio and West Virginia. With all the money the West Liberty had to offer in scholarships back then, their job had to be tough. That's the way I look at it. Well, at this time, I didn't have any idea of how many of my family went to West Liberty, but Angelo Ciccolella, who's with us over here, is our historian, basically, and he happened to tell me recently there were 20 members of our family that graduated from West Liberty. 15 of them became teachers. So it's amazing with our large family that was able to do what we did. I went on to, I'm sorry, I lost my place. I went on to talk about that meeting up there at that camp. Well, Rowan Blatnick came to me and they said, okay, Fuscardo, what are you going to do? Where are you going to school? I said, well, Coach, I got a call from Potomac State College, which was down in Kaiser, West Virginia at the time. And he said, what? And I told him, so in a way that only Coach Rowe could do, he grabbed me by my shoulder pads and he said, Fuscardo, you don't have much of a choice to make. He said, you either come to West Liberty and be a hilltopper or you go to the pot. And he chuckled, that Bob Rowe chuckle too. So that made it really fun and interesting. As I said, I don't have much that I'm going to say more. All that I want to say is I'm very much honored to be in this hall, and I want to dedicate this to my mother and father in heaven who pushed me to where I am today. So thank you very much. I yield my time to Lynn.
One of the things that he mentioned that they have 15 teachers in the family, and I want to remind everyone out there, West Liberty is still an outstanding place to get an education. There's so many people in this room. You have sons, daughters, grandkids, nephews, nieces, whatever. When it's time for them to choose a school, please keep us in mind. And if you believe in this place the way that I believe in it, please share that word. Teresa, are you back there? I want to recognize Teresa Gretchen, who's been involved in the TV aspect of West Liberty she's not very old, but she's been here a while. And Teresa, when will this be available if someone wanted to find this ceremony? On Monday. So where could they find out on our website? Okay, if you go to topperstation.com, the entire ceremony will be in there. So, Teresa, thank you. Our next inductee, Shane Maynard, who has left us way too early. So before I even discuss Shane's accolades, I would like to take just a moment for a moment of silence here in Shane's memory. Thank you. Shane Maynard, men's basketball. The late Shane Maynard helped usher in the golden era of West Liberty basketball, breaking fellow Hall of Famer Spencer Johnson's 25-year-old scoring record and earning multiple conference and regional honors, a 3-time All-WVIC selection, and a 2-time All-Region pick. Shane poured in 2,221 points while wearing the black and gold. Unfortunately, Shane could not be here with us today, but I want to share a story. Coach Crutchfield and I go way back. I was in his wedding back in 1982, and I was the one that got to break the news to him that our current AD, Jim Watson, wanted to consider him for the head coaching job here. And Coach Crutchfield was just thrilled, absolutely thrilled, that he was going to get to achieve his lifetime dream of being a college basketball coach. So fast forward, he accepted the job. We go a month later, he inherited a 4-21 team, so he knew he had to go out and find players. And I can still remember I was in Wendy's parking lot. I've eaten more Wendy burgers, and as you can tell, as anybody in the country. And I got a phone call from Coach Crutchfield, and he was just so excited. And he goes, "Hey, what are you doing, Coach? I want to share good news. I signed Shane Maynard today." So that was one of the catalysts for where we are now. We were in a national championship game last year, and if it wasn't for 2 individuals being honored here today, our program would not be in that place. So right now, I would like to proudly present Shane Maynard's mother, father, brother.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks to the committee. West Liberty is a great honor for us and our family. I don't have a ton of stories because I wasn't here with Shane during those times, but I've got some stories growing up, so I'm going to share a couple of those. And so Shane and I were 2 years apart. I was his older brother. He played sports with me growing up. Always excelled at basketball. I remember I played in a 4th to 6th grade league. I was in 4th grade. Shane was in 2nd. He was not eligible to play in that league, but being a good little brother, he played up with me and did so well that the coaches in that league came together and created a rule that 2nd graders are no longer allowed to play in a 4th and 6th grade league. So that's kind of where his career started. You know, I remember Dave Barksdale. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that name. He's a coach at Beckley, Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow's won 19 state championships of basketball here, so they're kind of in the state of West Virginia. So we always went to his camps growing up, and Shane, like always, would play up with me at my camps and play with the 4th or 6th or whatever grade. And one year he said, "Can I just play with my own age this year? I want to go to camp with my own age." So he goes and he takes home literally every award that the camp had. So they stood up there at the end of the week and just Shane stood there and they just handed him one after another. So after that, you know, the other coaches and kids are like, "Can you send him back up with the other guys?" So Shane had a lot of aspirations to play Division I basketball. Like that was his goal. He you know, was just driven by that and kind of grew late. He grew up as a point guard, was shorter, and then grew all of a sudden. So next thing you know, he's like a 6'5" point guard. That was kind of a weird position at that time, so didn't get that opportunity. Came up here to West Liberty, saw this wonderful new facility, and just was sold and wanted to come, you know, start something here. And he got lucky, got with a great group of guys, got with Coach Crutchfield, and realistically, you know, it's just like overnight. They just clicked, came together, started winning ball games, and it was a great career and a great run. He really enjoyed it. I remember his sophomore year, I believe, you guys went down to Marshall and played an exhibition game. So he got his chance to go show off against the D1 guys. And, you know, I had a bunch of friends that played sports at Marshall, played football. One was a student body president there. So they're all there. They're jacked. They don't know who, you know, little West Liberty is coming in there. These guys are 7 foot, 6'11". You know, there's nobody on the Hilltopper side that even looks like they belong on the court with those guys, really. And I remember with about 3 minutes left in the game, and I'm looking at my buddies, and their eyes are just looking down because West Liberty's up 2 or 3 points on them with just a couple minutes left. Unfortunately, Marshall pulled the game out. It's just a 3-point win, but it was a really good opportunity to go down there and show what that team could accomplish at a bigger level. So it's really cool. But that's really what I have. This is just really exciting for our family. We're really happy to be here, very proud. Shane won a ton of awards over the years, trophy after trophy after trophy, but I'm sure that this, would top all of them. This is something that we're all very proud of, and I'm sure he is as well. So thank you very much.
Our next inductee was also started that glory year in West Liberty basketball. Corey McDuffie, a 3-time All-WVIC standout and an All-Region guard. Corey McDuffie teamed with fellow Hall of Fame inductee Shane Maynard to form a lethal 1-2 punch. McDuffie helped the Hilltoppers to 67 wins over his last 3 seasons, earning all-region honors as a senior on West Liberty's first ever NCAA D2 tournament team in 2007. Corey finished his career with 1,871 points. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present Corey McDuffie.
Just said yes, absolutely. All right, I'm nervous. It's a lot harder speaking in front of people than playing basketball, I'll tell you that. First and foremost, congratulations to all the my fellow inductees. Even though I don't know many of you, after reading your bios and everything and seeing you here, I'm honored to be inducted with all of you. Also, thanks to the committee as well. I was 17 when I stepped on this campus, so I didn't know what the world, had. All I knew is I wanted to play basketball. I didn't know where life would take me. I didn't know what was going to happen or anything like that. The 6th game into my freshman year, which was my second start, I'll get into the other part later, but it was my second start, and I ended up breaking my 5th metatarsal. So it was the West Virginia Tech game, and I remember when I did it, I Chuck the trainer, Chuck was our trainer at the time, and he ended up taking me to the doctor, and the doctor was like, yeah, this is the hardest bone in the body to heal. So I don't know if you are any doctors out there. It's like one of the hardest bones in the body to heal. So I was like, oh, okay, great. I'm 18 years old. My basketball career, all I wanted to do was play basketball. So I thought my career was over after that. But I was recruited by Coach Huffman and Coach Petrie, and I'm glad I got hurt because we were 4-21, like Coach Allum said. So I wasn't a part of that, But anyway, I don't like to take credit for that. So once Coach Crutchfield, my freshman year, was the coach of the second team. He was also a tennis coach. He was a great tennis coach as well. So anyways, once Coach Crutchfield took over, I had a meeting in his office, and he told me how much he believed in me. He told me he wouldn't give up on me. He stayed in my corner and really, gave me the motivation that I needed to change everything around, because I was pretty depressed after I broke my foot. I didn't think I'd be able to play again. I was also struggling academically as well, and it was Coach Crutchfield that kind of instilled that fire back in me. Obviously, when he took over, there was a lot of uncertainty because of the 4-21. So nobody knew who we were, and we ended up putting West Liberty on the map, you know. I also got to say, this is a special place. I mean, obviously, you know, my previous inductees have explained stories and little anecdotes and things like that. I love West Liberty. You know, like, I've formed bonds and friendships with a lot of people off the football team, not just, you know, my teammates and everything like that. My teammates and I, we still have a group text to this day, you know, where we hound Coach Hallett. We call him Rook, well, Rookie, because my senior year, he was a freshman, so I used to always be like, Rookie, you know, Rook. So also, any of you play chess, Rook is a very powerful piece, so strategically. I named all my teammates, so if they, you know, that's just me, you know, who I am. So they all had nicknames. I'm not going to tell you all of them. So we won't go into that. But most importantly, though, I wouldn't be here without the support of my family, my teammates, my coaches, and the West Lib community. So I'm very, very thankful for that. I also would be remiss if I didn't say this, and I'm kind of getting choked up. I want to give a special shout out to my fellow Hall of Famer, Shane Maynard. He's my brother, he's my guy, you know, he means so much to me, and I love him and I miss him. So I had to do that. And that's it, that's all I really got, you know. Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
You know, Corey's talking about that fifth metatarsal. My lovely wife, Karen, broke hers 2 Christmases ago, and I had to help her get up and down our steps. We live in the Woodsdale 2-story home, and I did that for about 2 weeks, and Corey, I just told her, toughen up. She's got to get back to playing again. So, and Corey, one other thing, and Corey and I go way back. I'm going to tell a story. Noon ball. We're lefties, and we played against each other a lot, but it was like the first week Coach Crutchfield was the coach because he took over in the spring. So they started having these workouts, and Corey wasn't liking it that day. And I was always in the gym, and I'm down there, and he's like, Coach Allum, this is just ridiculous. We had conditioning, and then we had weights, and then we had to play, and that's just this is ridiculous. And me, being the sympathetic one, right, Christy? Like, I'm like, Corey, that's why you were 4-21 last year. Quit crying and just do what he tells you. But he bought in immediately, and again, it was that group that got us where we are now in men's basketball, something that is just the shining star of this institution. And if it wasn't for these last 2 gentlemen, we wouldn't be here today. Matt Morrison, one of the top power hitters in school history. Matt Morrison was an all-WVIC designated hitter and co-captain for West Liberty's 1990 NAIA World Series squad. Morrison, who still ranks among the program's career leaders in home runs and RBIs, went on to an outstanding coaching and teaching career that was highlighted by multiple American Legion and high school state champions. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present Matt Morrison.
Good morning, everybody. We'll start out thanking the university and the committee, and thank them for everything they do here at West Liberty. This is a first-class event, and we appreciate it. It really means a lot. I want to thank the university the last few years, the last 5 or 6 years. You brought back all Bose championship teams at a baseball game. That was wonderful. I believe Coach said it was one of the greatest days of his life. What a great time we had. Thanks for that, you guys. And you also brought back the 1990 team for a football game. What a great day that was. So thank you very much. I'm just going to go around the table here. My wife and kids are here. Best teammate I've ever had, Melissa and Lindsay and Mackenzie. They went into the family business. They're teachers here. Mackenzie just graduated last year. So got them here with us. My mom and dad. Mom, if I'm half the parent as you, I did a great job. So my father's been coaching for 57 years. He played for Bo Schembachler at Miami of Ohio. He's still coaching American Legion baseball. He coached me in everything except West Liberty baseball. He's a fantastic coach. He's the greatest coach I ever had. He's the reason I got into education. He's a great man. Mark and Joan Stacy are here. Mark's in the Hall of Fame. Mark spent 40 summers coaching American Legion baseball. He had a lot to do. I learned a lot of baseball from Mark. Mark, you won't understand when I came home from the first semester and everybody was out. Every friend I had, I came home 6 weeks into the first semester. I went to a different school. You were the only guy I knew. I'd wake up every day, feeling like a scrub, just no baseball to play, not going to school, going to your convenience store and talking to you for an hour a day. You don't understand what that did for me. And you would tell me, Matt, this is just going to be a few months. You'll be fine. You're going to my school. I got a good friend there named Bo McConaughey. He's putting something special together there. You're going to be fine. You're going to love it there. You're going to be great. Thanks, Mark. You also told me, take that Toronto high school job. They got a lot of players there. You can win a state championship there. Thanks for that advice, too. So appreciate everything, Mark. Bill Beattie's in the back there. We grew up together. We were teammates together. We coached together. And now we're working together. We've had a great career together, and we're wrapping it up. I appreciate your friendship, Bill. And Bernie's back there, David Burnquist. He's the glue that holds us all together, those 80s teams. He's the one that organizes everything, keeps us together, keeps those relationships flowing. And we appreciate you, Bernie. This has been really awkward for me because we had so many great players in the 80s. I mean, we won 6 championships in a row and capped it off with a trip to the World Series. And it's so awkward because we had so many great players. So this has been very awkward for me. So many guys were so good and played their roles. Jimmy Monnett's here. Jimmy Monnet held the career win record at West Liberty for 2 decades before somebody, Mark Smith, a few years ago, just broke his career win record. Think about that. He was a pitcher of the year a couple of times. So these are the kind of players we had. So we had great players back then. And I remember the first day I ever caught at West Liberty, I'm catching Jimmy Monnet, right? It's 3-0, it's fastball down the middle. No. Fastball down the middle. No, get out here. Come on. Mo, what are you doing? What are you doing? Well, it's 3-0, fastball down the middle. Well, this isn't high school. I'm not throwing anything down the middle. Get on a corner. I don't care what the count is. So Jimmy was a great player. And last but not least, Bo, thank you for everything. You created a great culture here. I've never seen anybody that enjoyed being on the baseball field more than Coach Bo McConaughey. That guy loved baseball. He didn't care if it was in the gym, outside. He loved it. He created a great culture, not only for winning, but being comfortable and having a good time. The relationships we built on the vans and the buses, hotel rooms. Bo loves to laugh. He loves to laugh. I wouldn't trade my time with anything. One funny story, and I'll get out of here. My first meeting with Bo McConaughey, my first meeting ever. I'm all excited. This guy raises his hand, and he says, Coach McConaughey, he passed out all the practice schedules, and this guy raises his hand, Coach, I can't be here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I got class. And he goes, class? You got your whole life to go to class. You only got 4 years to play baseball. I don't hear about class, right? Well, Bo, I got to tell you, I took your advice. I enjoyed all 6 years up here on campus. Thank you.
Bo, where are you sitting at? What's that story you used to tell about Coach Rowe? He'd be sitting in the student union and somebody would say they have to go to class and he'd yell, cut it or something. Now, we joke about that, but we do educate kids here, so. They're funny stories, but we do educate. And then, Ed, I got to ask you one thing. Ed, he said his greatest teammate ever was his wife. Are you picking your wife or Gary? Okay. All right, our next inductee is obviously near and dear to my heart. I had the unbelievable pleasure of coaching this young lady, and throughout my long tenure, you recruit kids, and sometimes you sign this kid in your mind, they're definitely going to do this, this, and this, and this is not a backhanded compliment. This is a compliment to Christy. When we recruited her, I thought, I think this kid can be good, and I thought she had a way higher ceiling, but I really didn't know. And we had just started to get good. That was my third year, and she just came in, and just a testament to who she is and was at that time. She just made herself a great player. And she wasn't the greatest athlete in the gym, and she wasn't the tallest post player in the gym, but if we needed a basket, Joanna, just take it to the side, throw it into Christy, and there's going to be a left or right-handed jump hook, and we rode that all the way to our first WVIC championship, a moment that is near and dear in my heart. So thank you very much, Christy. So I'll let her get up and talk about things. Christy Peabody, a two-time All-WVIC women's basketball standout. Christy Peabody scored more than 1,400 career points and was a driving force behind West Liberty's first WVIC tournament championship. Peabody was a three-time WVIC All-Tournament selection, averaging 18.1 points for her career in postseason play, and was voted Tournament MVP after helping lead the Hilltoppers to the 1997 WVIC title. It is with great pleasure I formally introduce Christy Peabody. It's what happens when we put 150 people in a 100-person room.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. My speech is definitely more scripted. Bear with me. Thank you. I am honored to be here today as an inductee to West Liberty University's Hall of Fame. Congratulations to all the other inductees. It is truly a privilege to be standing alongside all of you. When you are notified 25 plus years later, so many emotions arise or crop up. It is an overwhelming feeling of joy, happiness, and excitement. It is validation that all your hard work and dedication was recognized and remembered. When you think back to the years of being a student athlete and you believed that playing basketball was the most important thing in your life, day in and day out, it was all we did. It was who we were known as. We were West Liberty women's basketball players. And in a blink of an eye, it was all over. I remember rolling down the locker after losing in the NCAA tournament, and I did not know what I was going to do. I did not know what I was going to do with 20 extra hours a week. Everything was over, and graduation was just around the corner. Then life begins. All the accolades I received during my career were once so important to me, had slowly been pushed back on the shelf and dust piled up. The trophies, medals, scrapbooks were then all packed away. I started a family, a career, and started coaching myself. I realized in all aspects of my life, the lessons, disciplines, teamwork, relationships that I learned being an athlete had in fact become a part of my everyday life. I found the same joy, happiness, friendships, competitiveness, teamwork, and love showing up in different forms as life went on. Being a student athlete at the collegiate level had a major impact on molding me into the person that I am today. I learned to have a winning attitude. I learned that hard work and dedication pays off. I learned to live life doing things that you love. I learned camaraderie, humility, perseverance, and balance of the demands of school, sports, work, family, and social life. I am so grateful to my family, coaches, teammates, and friends who were a part of my development. There are several groups of people that deserve recognition for supporting me throughout my athletic career. I would like to start with Coach. It was an incredible feeling to receive a call for the Hall of Fame induction from the man that was your coach and current athletic director. Coach Alm took a chance on me. The funny story is he did send Coach Cool to recruit me. Coach Cool was our assistant at the time to scout me during one of our high school playoff games. The funny part of the story is for some crazy reason, I had to play point guard that night. All of you that know about basketball, back in those days, post players did not dribble or shoot threes. The fact that he called me to come visit was a surprise. I made a visit to West Virginia, and my mom stated, "You are not going to go there. I will never drive this road again." Thanks to Coach, I was right where I was meant to be. He had a major influence on molding me into the person I spoke of earlier. I remember having a post-workout with Coach, and he said, "Don't come back into the gym until you can shoot with your left hand." Little did I know that skill was one that made me so difficult to guard. At that time, I thought he was a little crazy, but I guess I knew he knew what he was doing. Thank you, Coach Alm, for believing in me. Coach Missy Tiber. Coach Tiber was a senior my freshman year. I'll never forget on my recruiting visit, I had a scrimmage with some of the girls from the team because they had only seen me play point guard, so I had to do a workout here on campus. Missy Tiber, Dottie Hibbs, Mary McGuire, Carrie Ross, those girls were ready to scrimmage. They literally beat up on me. Carrie Ross hit me with a screen so hard I did not think I was gonna pop back up. Missy Tiber and Mary McGuire bullied me in the post so bad I had black and blue marks all over my upper arms and back. These were the girls that led the way for us to be successful. Missy then came back to become our post assistant coach. She helped me develop me into the player that I became. A story on how life can go full circle. Missy Tiber is my daughter Cameron's head coach at the University of North Alabama. Very cool. When Cameron calls me and goes on rages about her coaches or workouts, I just chuckle because I know what she's talking about. This part gets me, so I'm just letting you know. To my teammates, Joanna and sorry, I am the only female. We had a Zoom call during COVID with Coach and a bunch of the girls from our team, and Coach all mentioned the stars were aligned for the '97 team. I absolutely believe this. Although we had many ups and downs during our 4 years, we became a family. When one of us gets an award like this, it is really a representation of all of us. We were part of the success of West Liberty. We all put countless hours of practice to achieve the goal of winning our first championship. When we get together now, we remember the big events like our championships, and each one of us has certain games or practices that we recall, but the time we spend together is what matters most. We are truly lifelong friends. We support each other on the roller coaster of life. We've had weddings, births,
career achievements, deaths, divorces, and we are all right there going through the happy and tough times. I said to my kids when they went off to college, I hope you find a group of friends like I did, ones you cherish forever. Thank you to my teammates. I would not be standing here without you. And to my family, the unconditional love and support from the Peabody family, because they're the whole back there, is endless. There are so many examples that I could speak of, but I will pick out a few that stick out. When I sent out the link of the Hall of Fame article to my family group chat, the comments that came back were, why didn't you go 15 of 15? Why did you miss a shot? Why didn't you work harder? These are the responses that are describing my dad. He is the reason you strive for perfection. He pushed you past your limits. There were times I walked away from a game, like mentioned in the article, and he wanted to tell me why I missed that shot. Then he would need to show me, so we would shovel the snow off the court in the backyard, and we worked until we got it right. This is the work ethic he instilled in me. My mom, on the other hand, disliked any coach that yelled at me. She was the emotional support of our family. She was the taxi, the cook, the uniform washer, our cheerleader. She was always building my confidence and reminding me it was just a game. My parents, siblings, extended family, and they were at all of my games. They could attend. They would drive 3 hours on a Wednesday, watch a game, stay for dinner, and drive back home to Cleveland, and then they would return on Saturday for the next game. They were the most dedicated family anyone could ask for, and they are still this way with my children, Cameron with basketball at UNA, and Courtney, my other daughter, with her baby and living in Charleston. They just show up. I remember my senior year, it was our last home game here at West Lib, and they mentioned they would see me in Charleston for the conference tournament. They would not be able to make it to Fairmont, which was our last regular season game. When I was warming up at Fairmont, I heard this voice, and all athletes have that one voice that you can hear anywhere. Mine is my dad's, and I looked up and they were all there. The whole Peabody family was not going to miss my last regular season game, and I believe that's why my stats were the way they were that night. I would like to sum up where I am today. I have two beautiful daughters, Courtney and Cameron. Courtney resides in Charleston, South Carolina with her husband, George, and I just became a grandma 2 weeks ago to my grandson, Blake. Cameron is thriving at the University of North Alabama in her sophomore year. She is studying criminal psychology. They both traveled 10 hours to be here today. Thank you to Cam's roommate, Alyssa, for driving with her all night to be here. My significant other, Frank Ramirez, he is also a West Lib alum. He is not here today because I did choose for him to be with me for the birth of Blake. So he played quarterback for West Lib at 97 and 98, and we reconnected like 12 years ago. So my life is South Carolina, Alabama, California. That's where I go. In closing, I am deeply honored to be inducted into West Liberty University's Hall of Fame. I am so grateful for my family, friends that traveled this weekend to be here. I am so appreciative to all who have been a part of my journey. To my family, coaches, teammates, and friends, I want to thank you for your belief in me and endless support. It is an honor. This honor is for all of us. Thank you. Thank you.
Christy, you made me cry. It's not fun. Christy mentioned that one of my former standout players and incredible assistant coach, Missy Tiber, for several years, is now the head coach at North Alabama. I called Missy. She couldn't make it today, but I asked her, I said, well, what can I tell Christy that you said when we talked? And just to paraphrase, Missy said, obviously Christy was a great player and she could do this and that, but what made her special is she's even a better person than she was as a basketball player. So I wanted to pass that along, and just to show you it's a small world. They're now coaching Christy's daughter. Missy's assistant is Adrian Harlow, who was the point guard after Joanna. Joanna step up, Angela step up, two other prominent members of that first championship squad. So thank you. Jeff Stone, wrestling, a three-time NAIA All-American on the outstanding West Liberty wrestling teams in the mid-1990s. Jeff Stone went on to pursue an outstanding military career after earning his third straight All-American honor as a junior co-captain on the Hilltoppers' 1995 national runner-up team, coached by Vince Monceau. Stone opted to forego his final year of eligibility to attend officer candidate school with the U.S. Marine Corps. He served with distinction for 22 years and retired with the rank of lieutenant colonel. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present Jeff Stone. Thank you. You can set that down.
Thank you. I'm honored and humbled by this induction and super excited to finally be able to formally thank some very special people this morning. First, I'd like to thank God for the opportunities that I've been given and the people that He's put in my life. I'm accompanied today by my beautiful wife, Jennifer, of almost 28 years, also a 1995 West Liberty alumni. She has blessed us with 4 wonderful boys, JD, 27, who's just finishing up his commercial pilot's license, Matthew, 25, he's a Marine Sergeant, currently at Counterintelligence School in Virginia Beach, and Levi, 22, who's right now in the middle of completing the training at the Tennessee State Police Academy. And then, of course, Luke, 16, he's here with us today, too. Before I say anything else, I'd like to publicly acknowledge my wife, Jennifer, today. She's the glue to our super close family. She's my personal compass, my heart, and my best friend. As you can imagine, she is undoubtedly the best thing that I took away from West Liberty. I love you, dear. Thank you. All right, they say that iron sharpens iron, and I believe this to be true, and there's no better example of that than the wrestlers that I shared the room with. If you follow West Liberty Wrestling at all, then you know the people that I'm talking about. Brian Davis, Brandon Hinkle, Scott Shipman, James Branch, Richard Faustin, Jeff Smith, R.C. Anderson, Rick Merzouk, and Bubba Clayton, just to name a few. On that 1995 team, there were 7 All-Americans in just that year. I think in the picture there were 10 total that eventually became, or 9 that became All-Americans. Every one of them were undercover savages. Practice in that room was an absolute dogfight every single day. And as you can imagine, with that pack of alpha wolves, the dogfight sometimes spilled over outside the room. Even still, we always had each other's backs. Brian. Wrestling has been a big part of my life, both as a competitor and a wrestling dad. If you have boys that wrestle competitively, then you know the special kind of emotional roller coaster that takes place when you're watching them in the state finals, when they win and when they come up short. I got into wrestling by default. After being cut from the basketball team and then being cut from the football team, I can still remember the sting of my mother's words that was meant to be encouraging. She said, "Jeff, try out for the wrestling team. I'm pretty sure they don't cut anybody." So I did. I tried out for the wrestling team and subsequently lost every single match that year. 0 wins and 8 losses. Even though I had a rough start, I knew this was something I wanted to do. It was about that time that I met the first of 3 men that would change my life forever. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the man who introduced me to wrestling and who would help mold me into a young man. Coach Don Scar is more than just my high school wrestling coach. He was a huge influence in my youth on and, more importantly, off the mat. Coach cannot make it here today, but I wanted to make sure that I publicly thank him for the time and energy he put into me. He was the first of 3 great men of character and patience, and unselfishly taught me one life lesson after the other. Coach Scar, you're not here right now, but thank you, and I love you. The second man I'd like to acknowledge today is someone that everyone here already knows, Coach Vince Monceau. Coach, I love you. Coach, you modeled for me what a man of principle and character and what being a class act looked like. You were also able to balance great expectations, genuine compassion, and interest in our lives, as well as our development, not only as wrestlers, but as men. Coach, I remember craving your approval and feeling like $1 million when I got it, and also being crushed when I disappointed you. Coach, you'll never fully understand what you've meant to me. Coach Monceau, thank you, and I love you. The third and last man I'd like to recognize is Coach Rick Price. Coach Rick Price is like that crazy uncle that makes you feel like you're definitely his favorite, except for the fact that he makes everyone feel that way. He does. Always fun, always positive, and 100% genuine character. Coach, you probably don't remember this, but you made me go to the library and check out a book by Norman Vincent Peale called The Power of Positive Thinking. Here it is. This is the book. I'm serious. It was due December 16th, 1993. I think, can you help me pay the fine for that later? It's like 30 years ago. Anyway, Coach, you were the one that convinced me that I had all the tools to be an All-American if I could just get out of my own head. Coach Price, thank you, and well, I guess I love you too. All right. Fortunately, my story is not unique. Even though I felt special and at times that it was just us against the world, hundreds of young athletes had the same experience with these three incredible men. All three of these mentors had a way of making you feel valued and important to them. I always knew they were rooting for me no matter what. To my mentors, this induction is more yours than mine. Thank you for your guidance and mentorship. I hope that sometime today you take a moment and actually reflect on how much impact you've had. To the rest of us, I leave you with this challenge and call to action. Invest in someone other than yourself. Be a mentor, a confidant, and an example in your sphere of influence. Money gets spent, fame and notoriety fade, but living a life of impact and consequence in the development of others is forever. I challenge you to think of somebody right now that can benefit from your mentorship and commit to investing in them. Thank you to the committee, and thank you to everybody who made this happen for me. Thank you.
Bring that to the Thank you, Jeff. Good segue. Let me just talk wrestling here for a second. Although I was a basketball guy and we even play in the same season, and I've said this a number of times at this event, I've always had great admiration for wrestling. How you guys do that on a daily basis, I have no idea. And I was fortunate enough that I played and coached a sport that basketball's fun. Like Corey, going to practice is fun. It's not like, sometimes. Well, what if you had to go to practice and run yourself and not eat for a week to make weight and all the things that wrestling goes through? And I knew when I accepted the job as the athletic director here, one of my first initiatives is I wanted wrestling to be dominant again. And I was fortunate enough to go out and find what I think is the best wrestling coach in the country right now in Danny Irwin, and we talked him into coming here, and the results speak for itself. But what I want to mention, and this is the one time I'm going to get my little plug in here, one of the reasons that we have been able to achieve what we've achieved in wrestling over the last 3 or 4 years is we have an incredible group of former student athletes, and we have a wrestling advisory board who offer advice and help fundraise, and what they have personally done with their own resources or their influence on others with resources has enabled us to get where we want to get to. And that's a model that I would love to see a lot of our other sports start to embrace. And I don't want to be the guy that ever begs for money, but we are embarking upon, we're going to dedicate a new area and expand the wrestling room to double its size. And it's going to be a hefty fundraising campaign. So if anybody in here has an affinity for the sport, an affinity for the school, affinity for student athletes, we would greatly appreciate your support when we launch that campaign, and that's going to be here probably in the next month or so. So again, I love wrestling, I love where we're at, but we're going to need continued help. So I won't beg you for money anymore, but thank you for listening to that. All right, our last but definitely not least inductee, Frank Zebrasky, football. A 3-year starting quarterback and an NAIA All-American, Frank played a pivotal role in West Liberty's 1979 WVIC championship squad. Zebrasky was the 1979 WVIC Offensive Player of the Year and earned honorable mention All-American honors after passing for over 1,200 yards and leading the WVIC in scoring. After setting 9 school records on the Hilltop, Frank embarked on a highly successful high school teaching and coaching career in Western Pennsylvania. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present Frank Zebrasky. You can, if you want to set that here.
I mean, I would say the obvious, they saved the best for last, but actually, social media minute. Everybody smile. Yes, we're almost done. I had to come up with something quick to be funny. And yes, it's on black and yellow paper. Congratulations to all of this year's induction class. Your accolades speak volumes about your impact on Hilltopper athletics. Thank you to Lynn, your committee, our new president, and your efforts going forward. My teammates, my coaches, all the athletic administrators, friends, and most importantly, my family. Big shout out to anyone who was instrumental in allowing this to happen. I am so humbled and so grateful. Miss Alyssa, by the way, tell your dad I said hi. Okay? Yeah, she's from Washington, PA, by the way. Yeah, that's where I hail from. Now I know why you went to North Alabama. Now I can see that tie-in. Okay. Without each one of your respective support, this achievement was not possible. Now, Lynn made a brief statement way back when, about an hour and 20 minutes ago. And following up after Coach Dugas. I mean, really, did he not remind you of Lou Holtz? All the way down to the glasses. You know, it was like... He was also one of my coaches back in the day. Briefly, we know how difficult it is to try to compare the previous era athletic accomplishments with current day strategy of today's game. But the games were different, and that's a fact. I often wonder how many passes my Hall of Fame receiver, Lance LaFollette, would have caught in today's game. I know, a lot, because he caught 12 passes in one of my games, one of our games together. That's a pretty good accomplishment. The all-time catch leader at that time was Mike Johnson. He was my holder for placements. I did kick and I did punt as well. And he had a knack for getting open too. And he also wore that sticky stuff on your arms that was outlawed, and now they have gloves that they wear, okay? So he would have caught a lot more. Now, last year's induction of our Hall of Fame running back, Tim Cortazzo, who's here, well, he would have been a modern-day precursor to that guy out in San Francisco right now, Christian McCaffrey, because he can run you over, run around you, and he can catch passes. And he's a Hall of Famer of last year. My center, Tom Message, he's here. And no, like these guys, quarterbacks and centers have a pretty good relationship. We didn't stay together. But we shared a lot of time together, okay, because there wasn't shotgun snaps then. And you know what? We never had a failed center quarterback exchange. Pretty cool. The games were different, and that's a fact. Keeping the ball away from the other team's offense was strongly emphasized. 12 plays, 14 plays, 8-minute drives. That's the way it was. Here with me, supporting this accomplishment, are teammates, as I mentioned, Tom Message, our center. Paul Pellicetti, he was a free safety. Tim Cortazzo, our Hall of Fame running back. Lance Follett, Hall of Fame wide receiver. And he went on to further accolades with the Tampa Bay Bandits. Joe Roig is here also, but he's out in the hallway somewhere because he wanted to walk around. He said he'd be here about 11 o'clock. I said, come in. I'll be done about 11:30. Pretty close. And our trainer, Randy Wingnut Elliott, is here as well. My offensive coordinator during the 78, 79, 80 seasons, Carmen Cortazzo, is here as well. Now, here's where I get to try a couple funnies. But you guys did that pretty well, so. My offensive coordinator as a senior player was Coach Jim Pry. And he wished me congratulations, but he couldn't attend today because he was at a family function. He helps his son on game day. His son, Brent, is the head football coach at Virginia Tech University, Brett Pry. During our senior year, he sat beside me on every bus ride in the West Virginia Conference. And back then, riding in the West Virginia Conference from here to Concord, where's that Concord guy at? Over here. Over here? Hey, riding back then was like a 3-day trip to get to Concord from West Liberty. No kidding. We would stay at Pipestem or somewhere, and halfway there. Okay? So I must have impacted him because he's a pretty damn good coach. Numerous West Liberty alumni and teammates have contacted me, and although they are not here, I greatly appreciate their thoughts as well. Thank you, each and every one of you, for all your support and friendship through years. It means a lot to me. Don't worry, it's big. It's really big printing, not small. Prior to our 1979 homecoming game against an unbeaten Salem team, defensive captain Mark Murphy, who is a West Liberty Hall of Famer, NFL alumni, Green Bay Packer, and unbelievably talented teammate, had these kind words to share with me. Now, this is pretty funny, so get ready. Z, I really care what you do with the quarterbacking and kicking for the offense. I really do. But you better punt the shit out of the ball today when necessary, because on that play, you're playing defense for me. Well, my first punt went a walloping 8 yards. True story. But after further encouragement, the next three went 47, 45, and 48. And we won. Yes, I was honored to be the 1979 Offensive Player of the Year in the conference. That is big. But being part of a conference championship, although it was shared with a Fairmont team, is even bigger. That season was special, and I need to mention that. Our defense was stellar, led by Coach Westenhaver. Scott McCune, who was the director of scouting for the Detroit Lions and just retired, was a defensive lineman. Mike Wolf, Julius Wallace, Larry Gatrell, Randy Rogers, Ron Vellante, Lenny Lukács, Doug Andrich, Paul Pellicetti, and Mark Murphy, all key players. And naturally, I participated as a punter every now and then. Our special teams were solid. Robbie Wilson was the snapper, Mike Johnson the holder, and I kicked. I did kick off the first few games, but as Coach Cortazzo can confirm, when they started running at me after I kicked off, that was the end of that kicking off thing. You know, they'd send 2 or 3 headhunters after me, so that got changed. Our offense was opportunistic and effective. Our offensive line, Sean O'Brien, Tom Lacey, Tom Message, Joe Roig, and Dave Fortunato were solid. Robbie Wilson, Ted Lanny, Johnson, LaFollette, Ribel, and Seckman were quite capable receivers. Boner, Cortazzo, Ricks, Hott, and Johnson were talented. And yes, I did not use a program to remember those names. So it was easy to be part of that special group. Our coaches supplied the wisdom and guidance. Coach Westenhaver, Coach Cortazzo, Coach O'Connell, who was mentioned, and Coach Dugas, which is pretty cool. He's first, I'm last. And many, many more. Our training staff was led by Randy Wingnut Elliott. Randy Wing, put your hand up. Everybody was around those Wingnut. He had these subtle words to remember: ice and elevate, or moist heat, whichever is appropriate. I must honor one very, very special person, Hilltopper athletic administrator who just recently passed away, who was humble, gracious, and a bulldog of a leader, Coach Edgar Martin. Coach, rest in peace. You were always one of my biggest supporters, always. Hence, a great season. It's also when I met my beautiful wife, Kelly McCartney, an '82 alumni. Oh, by the way, she was the captain of the cheerleading team. You know, that storyboard stuff, you know. This St. Patrick's Day, yes, St. Patrick's Day marks our 40th wedding anniversary. 40 years. Thank you, dear, for the lasting memories. 2 sons, Zachary and Zane, are here. Their wives, Leah and Sasha, are here. 2 of the 4 grandchildren, Jack and Lucy, are here. Thank you, and I love you. My brother-in-law, Andy, and Sissy Richardson, once again, West Liberty alumni, are here too, always as supporters. I love you guys. I also have my longtime coaching friends and colleagues, Guy Montecalvo and his wife, Marie. Coached 35 years with and for this gentleman, 35 years. I know I don't look that old, but I am. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. Thanks, Marie. By the way, I help his daughter out as an assistant basketball coach for girls basketball at Chartiers Houston High School now. Lance Valley, who is a coaching colleague of mine, has 20 Washington High School football players outside going through the facility right now. Washington High School is where I went to school at. I was first at Prexy, and now I was a Hilltopper. They're here as well. Dylan Asbury and Carlos Harper are current Prexies on the Hilltopper team. I also have my close roommate and friend and his wife, Alex Paris and Valerie, here. Now, what can I say about Alex E. Paris and his wife? They're always supportive of anything West Liberty has to offer. He was my roommate, and he is on the Alumni Wall of Honor. That's special, and so are you, and thank you very much, you two. Kelly and I also have our good friends John and Lisa Antonelli here. They're West Liberty alumni as well. Pretty special place. You getting a West Liberty theme here? Are we feeling that? And finally, I must mention my parents, Rosalind and Zeke, who will be watching on the video, are not here, but without your love, guidance, support, and willingness to travel the then extremely winding roads of the West Virginia Conference to support me and my teammates, none of this is possible. Thank you, and we love you dearly. My sister, Marcia, traveled from Jacksonville, Florida. I was saving this to the very end for a reason, and I'll tell you that in a second, but Jacksonville, Florida. Okay. Jacksonville, Florida is where the last Mega Millions lottery winners were held. The big one, the 1.4 million. Well, now it's 1.5 tonight, right? So, how many people we have in here?
130, 50.
Yeah. So if we all threw in $1, and we got about 150 tickets out of that, and 1.5 billion goes out to about 800 million in cash payout. That means everyone would probably get, what, 3.7 finance, where's the finance people? 3.7, 3.8 million each? I think we can handle that. So if you want to see me afterwards, maybe we can do something like that. But anyway, once again, I want to thank each and every one of you. I'm deeply appreciative for all these family, friends, and colleagues, coaches, teammates, and their never-ending support. By the way, my sister is a West Liberty grad, too. I didn't mention that, but she is. And the final words for today, give them hell, WL.
Bring that to the field.
Appreciate it.
Well, this ceremony never fails to impress. I mean, it just, every year you hear these heartfelt, and I'll just use my coaching voice. I just love hearing them. And I've been fortunate enough, this is my 30th year as the MC of this event. I can remember all the way back 1993. I didn't know what I was doing. I was scared to death, and I was a couple pounds lighter and had maybe just a little bit more hair. But it's just been an incredible time for me. Last and not least, concerning me, and it's definitely least, I do have a lot of friends and people here that I see all the time. So today I'm officially announcing I have submitted my retirement papers. Got 2 more weeks left. Thank you, thank you. You have no idea what that means. West Liberty took a shot on me. I was a complete unknown many, many years ago, and they gave me an opportunity to coach the women's basketball team. They gave me a whopping salary of $2,500 a year. I was teaching high school in Ohio, driving an hour and a half each way, commuting, and that turned into, I think, a $20,000 salary 3 years later. And I had to be the sports information director as long as the women's basketball coach. But it's been an incredible ride. Love each and every one of you. This event is just incredible. I'm hoping Dr. Borchers will keep me around to do TV and things like that. And if they want, maybe even host and be the MC of this event moving forward. But what we've accomplished at West Liberty, and take me out of it, what we have accomplished over the last 3 decades, and the outstanding players and people we recognize. And remember, this is an athletic event, but we are way more than just athletes. We have countless peoples, not only in the local communities, but across the world, who have gone out and made their mark. And I think it's the West Liberty community that inspires us all and gets us to that point. So I do want to recognize, I can mention Brad, right? Brad Forshee, if you'll step up in the back. Brad Forshee is the Assistant Athletic Director, Director of NCAA Compliance, and Dr. Borchers has named him as the interim AD. So everyone, please welcome Brad. And give him his support.
In an attempt to avoid a very uncomfortable meeting this week, Dr. Borchers, we highly encourage our student athletes here to not cut class.
All right, just last thing, all the inductees, thank you. Please bring your plaque to the field, because I know you may want to take photos and things with it. So please bring them to the field, go down to the sideline, probably with 3-4 minutes left in the second quarter, but please be there because with this many inductees and we've got to read the bios and things, we'll take you out. We'll represent the plaques to you. Enjoy the game. And the last thing, the 64 baseball team, inducting teams is a weird dynamic. We've only done it twice. So they are going to be honored at a game this spring at a baseball game. So we will have a formal luncheon and we will bring them back and make their day. We're going to give them a whole day just to themselves. Coach? All right, everybody, go out, enjoy the day. Thank you very much.